there are two very important ways in which it's contributed to the war. One is particularly in the early stages. I think you saw some actually reasonably effective Russian operations against Ukrainian military capabilities. So in the compromise of the Viasat satellite communications provider, it appears that was well coordinated with Russia's initial ground invasion to try to weaken the Ukrainian ability to communicate. And it wasn't the cyber aspect, if you like, that let down that campaign. It was the wider deficiencies in Russian planning. Then secondly, you've seen contest on both sides and not confined to state actors in the information domain. That's doing things like taking down websites, it's spreading misinformation, it's denying access to information, it's seeking to undermine confidence in each side's leadership and their ability to manage the way of life. So it's a very important, as with the information domain in all wars, it's a very important secondary aspect of it. So I think it should over time lead to an interesting reappraisal of our approach to cyber capabilities. They're important, they're potent, but they're limited. In my view, they don't really count as primary capabilities, if you like. I don't think you're going to change decisively the outcome of war. A very well executed, single targeted, well planned, long-term operation can do extraordinary damage. They don't scale in the way that, for example, an aerial bombing campaign can scale. But if you look back at some of the discussions in the West at the start of the war about the likely cyber dimension, we were expecting, or plenty of people were expecting, a sort of overwhelming barrage of attacks, not just against Ukraine, but against the West. And we haven't seen that. We haven't seen it for two reasons. One is it's not going to be a decisive, game-changing military intervention against Ukraine. And secondly, it's not a standalone capability that you can use against the West without consequence in the way that we sometimes portray it. If Russia decided to do something horrific a la Salisbury again, there would be consequences. If they decided to launch a major cyber attack against the UK, there would be consequences. And so it doesn't exist in isolation. So I think we will be studying this for a long time to come, and we will be already reappraising our approach to cyber as a capability. The UK should be an offensive cyber power. The UK is an offensive cyber power. But I think we need to be realistic about the capabilities that this gives us. It doesn't give us some magic wand that we can use to transform specific military situations. It gives us useful capability. We need to be realistic about it. So Russia's very good at hacking the internet that America built, but that's all it's good at. China's building its own internet, it's building its own technological base, it's huge already, and it's competing for leadership. Russia has no basis to compete with the United States for the leadership of technology this century. China does and is, and that competition really, really matters. So those are two quite fundamental differences between the way China and Russia approach competition in the technosphere, and it's why virtually every major British security leader is now saying that when it comes to technology, Russia is severe bad weather and China is climate change.